Hey there, how's it going? Long time no see. It's been a minute. Well, it's the 31st of October, 2025. And I want to update you on some new things going on that you might find interesting. Um, and I hope you do. Over the past year, I've taken on a job that really doesn't allow me to be in local bands. That's really been a source of joy of my living here for 20 plus years, is being able to play drums or maybe bass in some cool local bands. But my current job is now getting in the way of my doing that. And then in March of this year, someone had a set of microphones made specifically for drums on Facebook Marketplace, and I bought them. It's really something I had wanted to own for a very, very long time. I've obviously been playing drums for over 30 years, but I've never recorded myself playing them. Now, granted, yes, I've got my Instagram account, Gray Boy John. I'll link that in the description, where it's just me, recording myself playing drums on my iPhone. But that's literally being done in a concrete storm cellar. Not the best acoustics. So in the wake of me buying this set of microphones for drums, maybe 8 or 9 months ago, I then bought all the other stuff that you need to be able to record at home. And since early August of this year, I have been recording and uploading my music of my own composition up to Soundcloud. And I think I've got maybe 11 or 12 tracks. So I was going to link you to that SoundCloud account. My SoundCloud username is J Fitz Kennedy, and that's actually not much of a departure from my real name. Slight embellishment. And it's at that account that you can hear these songs I've recorded. I say songs. I've always been very specific with song, because to me, if something is a song, that means it's sung with lyrics. But if it's an instrumental track, which is largely what I've recorded, that's a piece of music, or maybe just generally a track. So let me show you around my studio. Well, honestly, this used to be my office, where I would devote hours at a time doing very important stuff like, browsing the internet. And now it's really kind of become my flabby road, my kind of own personal recording studio. So let me show you around. Now, I told you about the microphones I bought for drum set. This is one. The overhead mics here, which one thing I've learned doing home recording is those overhead mics play a very important role. In fact, they are the bulk of the sound. There's a big microphone here going into the kick drum. And this microphone that's on the snare drum, that is one I bought separately, because this particular type of mic is kind of the industry standard for snare drums. And we just have some miscellaneous cymbals and stuff that, I'll swap out depending on what kind of sound I'm going for. Who's under here? Oh, yeah, a snare drum with what's called a clap stack on top of that. This is my emotional support fuzzball. Actually, no, I think I actually use this to to muffle a bass drum in some of my early recordings. Basses, guitars, acoustic guitar, kind of my go-to guitar. This is a PRS SE Michael Ackerfeld signature. If you saw some of my reaction videos, you probably saw this hanging on the wall behind me. Some of you might know that book very well. Something that's very, very dear to my heart. And I had a fan of my reaction videos send me that book, and it is absolutely stunning. If you look closely, you see another guitar going hiding in the closet there. A timbale, a Latin drum. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, two similarly shaped drums. We have from West Africa a djembe, and a drum from a more ancient tradition. This is called a darbuka. Some people may know it as a doumbek. Now, I believe that this specific drum was probably built for decorative purposes. It might be more intended to be on display. I don't see any manufacturer names or branding, and it's kind of a generic clear drum head, but it is a really cool sounding drum. It's basically a higher voice, but it kind of a similar sound to the djembe. I do have a tabla, but like the doumbek, I believe these tabla were made really more for decorative purposes, to be more on display. I really bought these because I was just to me, tabla is the most interesting of all percussion instruments, just because you can pull so many voices and sounds from tabla. But these particular tabla are not of a standard of quality, so but I enjoy attempting to play them. I'm simply not the apprentice on tabla that it requires one to actually be good at the instrument. What else do we got? This is a MIDI keyboard. This is basically what they call a workstation keyboard. And what I mean by that is it's not really a standalone keyboard. In other words, you can't just take it out somewhere, hook it up to an amplifier, and it plays. It is built specifically to interact with digital workstations, like this one is GarageBand. And the voices from the keyboard are actually coming from the software, right? And it is built to interact and modulate perhaps the sounds that's built into the software. And what's great about this particular keyboard is it will interact with virtually any popular, what they call a DAW, a digital audio workstation. Something I found in a local consignment shop, I don't know, maybe an antique shop, is this concertina, which is a kind of an interesting instrument. Think of it as a small accordion, but instead of keys like a keyboard, it just has these valves, I guess you might call them, or buttons. Um, and I actually recorded a track with this concertina. What really stinks is this strap is broken, so I can't hold it very well. But I think this may have been referred to as like a squeeze box, but it's a really cool sound. Unfortunately, this one is long neglected and not perfectly tuned, so not every note is going to be a good one. Let's see. Oops. So yeah, that's a concertina. I have no idea how old this is. If I were to guess, just based on the look of this plastic, I mean, this looks like it might be from the 50s or 60s. I don't know. I am far from an expert on concertina. And it came in the original box. I think I paid all of $40 for this. So on the chance that someone's watching who's actually an expert on concertina, or you have like a Antiques Roadshow sensibility about you, then tell me more. I'd love to. I mean, goodness gracious, look at all those huge fake diamonds. It's pretty fancy, huh? Pretty fancy. And I actually did record something. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Let me be the first to tell you that I am not a record producer. I strive to get the best possible sound I can get. I do have some experience with working in audio board, and obviously I've been a consumer of music for decades, so I know what sounds good, and hopefully my ears are serving me well. But yeah, so I've recorded again 10 to 12 tracks since August. I think you'll be interested to find that it's not all the same music. There's some things that might sound like hip hop. There's some things that might sound like punk. In fact, the only track that is a song with lyrics kind of has a punkish sound to it. There's some things that might sound like they came from a movie soundtrack. One of my more recent efforts that I'm really enjoying is a track called Big Boat, No Captain. And that was the first recording I did with this MIDI keyboard, and I really like the way it sounds. So what it is it's the drums. Obviously, the drums are real, and then everything you're hearing outside of drums was coming from the software and the MIDI keyboard. I think of all the tracks I've uploaded, the one I'm most proud of as it stands now is one called Blaming Flips. And it is kind of a tribute to a song I've loved throughout the years. In the late 1990s, the band Flaming Lips, they came out with an album called The Soft Bulletin. And when it comes to the state of Oklahoma, there's not a lot of bands that you kind of identify as being cool. There have been some amazing musicians, and of course, Oklahoma is well known for its contribution to country music, whether it be Reba McEntire, Garth Brooks, and Toby Keith. A lot of tremendous contributions to country music. But when it comes to rock and roll music or, cool music, it's a smaller group for sure. And the Flaming Lips dates back to the 80s, but their music really started to get interesting in the 90s. Anyway, there's an album from the late 90s called The Soft Bulletin. And there's a song on The Soft Bulletin called The Gash. And the drummer, Steve Drost, who actually was my neighbor briefly when I was in high school up in Lawton, Oklahoma, he plays this, what's called a halftime shuffle. If you know the song Babylon Sisters by Steely Dan, it's this kind of grooving dun dun cat. Babylon sisters, shake it. Anywho, so the song that I uploaded, several weeks ago, Blaming Flips, obviously a take on Flaming Lips, called Blaming Flips, is kind of a tribute to that song, The Gash. Now, it's not nearly as sonically dynamic as The Gash is. It wanders way off into places I can't even comprehend. But as far as the overall feel of the song, and I'm simply just playing drums, guitar, and bass. That's all it is. There's some layering of the guitars and some effects on the guitars to give it a more kind of a wider, expansive feeling. I'll drop the link to the Soundcloud account. I would love to have you sample some of the tunes, and if there's something that you really connect with, I would love to hear that. Again, I'm not a record producer, so it's going to be far from perfection. I think it kind of goes against humanity to strive ultimately for perfection. One of my favorite sayings is, "Don't let the perfect get in the way of the good," or "Don't let perfection get in the way of the good." Sometimes I think we strive so much for perfection that we deny ourselves what is truly good. Well, how's that for some philosophy? It's good to see you. Again, I'd love for you to hear the music I've been making, and obviously there's more to come. I would love to hear your feedback, and I have truly enjoyed all the encouragement, the positivity, and the support. Especially in a world where things are getting all crazy, and there's a lot of hate, and there's a lot of judgment, and there's a lot of negativity, and we can only take so much. So keep it positive, right? And remember, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Stay well, everyone.